Yep, Democratic Governor John Bel Edwards signed HB 953. It happened yesterday. This adds police officers, firefighters, and first responders to the protected class against hate crimes. Joining us now with his reaction is the man who authored that bill, Louisiana State Representative and Chairman of the State House GOP Caucus, Lance Harris. Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it. Chairman, what made you think that we really needed this legislation?
Well, several things. When you look at all the news reports that are happening around the country now where officers are being attacked, especially in the last one in Houston, Officer Goforth, I felt it was necessary that we put something in place in Louisiana to protect those that are protecting us. You read every day where there's a lot of terrorizing going on. There's a small group of people that have a concerted effort to really terrorize our officers and do the things to kind of disrupt them in their day-to-day activities. So I thought it was a good time and a very good step and long overdue to include officers and first responders in our hate crime statute.
You know, I know already at 42 officers who were fatally shot, 9 officers killed in Louisiana back in 2015, and there's a sentiment now of a lack of respect, not from everyone, but from a lot of people to law enforcement. In fact, here's what your governor said, quote, "The men and women who put their lives on the line every day, often under very dangerous circumstances, are true heroes and deserve the every protection that we give them. Hate crimes will not be tolerated in Louisiana." So what changes now?
Well, what changes now, it enhances the sentences if a crime is done because and derived out of hate. And our statute is very extensive. It not only covers violent crime, but it can cover things such as terrorism, arson, criminal vandalism, and damage. So if someone does something to an officer, EMS, or firefighter, and it's predicated just out of hate, it gives our DAs and our parishes an extra tool to use at their discretion to fight and to prosecute anyone that does these things.
You know what I like about this too? It lifts the morale. So many times people get up in the morning and they say, so I'm not appreciated, I'm sacrificing so much, my life's on the line. At least it shows that legislatures can't get together on one thing, and it shows respect that Louisiana has for those who keep us safe. Lance Harris, great job putting this forward. Thanks so much for joining us and talking about it.
Thank you, and thank you so much for having me.
No problem. Meanwhile, come.
All right.
You can just exit out of it. Yeah.
All right, so you heard what they have legislated, Blue Lives Matters law, and so that law specifically addresses any person that is going to do harm to a police officer, not necessarily killing them, but any type of harm that we can determine that hate was involved or motivated behind it towards the police officer. Now we're going to open up the floor for discussion. The first question that I'm going to get you to think about is immediately when I look at this video, I'm reminded how quick legislation made a decision to legislate the protection of police officers. Now watch this. Some will argue that that's a slap in the face to Black Lives Matter. So throughout the whole history of blacks being killed by the police, you get one section where police officers are getting attacked and you see them getting killed, and bam, legislation comes up. But what has been done for the Black Lives Matter? The legislation? You think it's happened?
It's only a hate crime to attack a black person out of hate. So, I mean,
well, not from that perspective. We're talking about the police, right? So we've got two different poles over here. On this side, we have the Blue Lives Matter, and you can't help but think that was spurred from the Black Lives Matter. You have two sides that are saying our lives matter. On one side, you have gotten justice. On this side, you're still marching for justice. Nothing has happened.
Well, if you don't put something in place for police officers to feel like they should keep doing their job, And what happens when they keep getting killed and everyone decides they don't want to be a cop anymore?
Anybody want to argue? Does anybody want to argue from the Black Lives Matter
I think
perspective?
maybe the wording, the name of the bill was probably what pissed people off. You could have worded it like not based off their movement, and that maybe would have eased tension. That's what I could think.
So do you see any tension? I mean, clearly something was done for Blue Lives. Has anything been done for Black Lives? Huh?
Because there are black
Yeah,
police
I feel like it's
officers.
just for money. It's just an
Essentially,
excuse.
they have to be enough for them.
Well, I'm talking about the black young men who are getting killed.
They probably, wasn't it you that told us the statistics actually show reverse, so they're probably looking at that too and saying, okay, I understand that you may perceive it like this, but statistics say it's not like this. So they're gonna obviously look at that when making legislation. It's not an activist movement. So they're not gonna consider that.
Musso, you look like you want to say something.
No, I'm saying, well, if you're looking at it from a black and white perspective, like you said about the law, nothing, no legislation has been done for all the people who've been killed over the centuries, and then cops get killed, and then, which is wrong with it in itself, and then legislation pops up. Yeah, you're right. Nothing has been done. But
We're totally ignoring that African Americans have said these police officers are killing us without just cause. Yeah, I ran, but did you have a reason to kill me? Right? And so then on this side, you see a rash of events in the window that will happen. And then all of a sudden you get legislation. Like people would say, wow, that's like the police haven't been reprimanded and no, y'all don't get that?
No, I understand what you're saying.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Just looking, I'm just going back 2-3 years. I'm not gonna go back 40, 50 years. As far as both,
I like that plug. I like that plug.
as far as African Americans getting killed, police officers getting killed, you look at, I'm looking at it from my perspective, like officers getting killed, like we look in Dallas. What happened there with I think it was 600 police officers that got killed. That was a form of that was an act of terrorism. They were specifically targeting police officers for wearing the badge. Versus what you would normally hear, an African American getting killed. There's always there's a form of, I guess you could say, a form of suspicion around it. You see what I'm saying? Versus cops getting killed because they're cops, like the guy who just got killed in Louisiana last month. He had just gotten out of the military about 1.5 years. He had just been a police officer, a small department just south of New Orleans. He was coming off duty, and he was finishing his shift, and there was a car accident. He got out to help and assist. The man killed him and killed the woman, which was his wife or girlfriend at the time. He killed the police officer just for being a police officer. Same thing with Beaufort. He got killed for being a cop.
Then there was an attack in Baton Rouge.
And in the Baton Rouge, he got attacked.
I agree, because
Now, what happened in Baton Rouge, a retaliation, the reason the cops got killed was because previously, I forgot the gentleman's name, who was on the floor, and the two cops were wrestling, and they said they saw a gun, and they pulled and shot him and killed him in front of a convenience store. In retaliation, somebody went out and killed 3 cops
Right. So here's what I'm
for being
saying.
cops.
And I like that. That's great. So let's be clear. So are these cops getting killed because they are cops? Or are they getting killed because blacks are tired of the long, arduous history of being killed by the police?
I mean, again, that's why I said I'm going back 2-3 years.
I mean,
One is like.
Can I say this?
But listen, I'll say this, you can't discount the history.
Yeah, no.
Because the history has a lot to do, listen, like, they're not killing police at this moment because of this moment. It's a long history of that we feel like Black lives do not matter when it comes to police officers. And when you have a legislation such as Blue Lives Matter, it's kind of like a slap in the face, because Blacks have said we've marched, we've been killed, we've been doing this, we've seen this happen, and no legislation, not even anything has been done. Yes, sir.
Oh, what are you trying to make?
Yes, sir.
What legislation, what legislation could be passed? Because a hate
They
crime
have
is already a
to,
hate
right,
crime.
yeah.
No matter if you target a certain race, it's a hate crime.
Mhm.
So what legislation do you think can be passed to further protect a certain group of people? I don't understand.
He's saying like they already have, there's already civil rights in place, there's already equal protection in place. The laws already exist, it's whether or not they're being enforced.
All it is adding another group of protected class little, like basically it's adding cops and everything. There's no certain race of cops or firefighters, EMS. It's just adding another group of people.
Mhm.
So if you were to target them specifically, you're gonna get punished at a higher degree. That's
So-
all it is.
So, okay, great. So why aren't police being charged, and why aren't police going to jail? Not even for hate crimes.
Mitigating circumstances, if there's reasonable doubt, like if you can, without a doubt, without a doubt.
Can you pull up that video where the guy is running,
Oh
and
my
gets shot in the back?
Oh,
I am not
It
protecting.
goes like this.
I'm not protecting any police officers for any, if there's no, like, there's no reason to commit the crime they did, because I'm gonna call it a crime, then why they do it? I don't understand. All this right here is adding them to a protected class.
Okay, so let's look at what we've seen thus far. We've seen the young man who was running away, he got shot in the back.
Right, correct.
We saw the young man who was in a car with his girlfriend, he got shot and she videotaped it. We saw that.
Although there's reasonable doubt.
Hold on a second. We've seen the other young man who, the female officer, they had a helicopter and they shot him. No weapons on him. Why hasn't anything been done about those events? But we have a Blue Lives Matter legislation. So would that confirm what Black Lives Matter is saying?
They could
Yes.
definitely add that to their case, yeah.
But has any of these people been targeted for their race?
Well,
There's no way,
I think
there's
the
no way
first-
for me to prove that.
Like, there's a
for
way to prove
anyone.
that it was a wrong action, like them shooting them, but there's no way
Right.
of saying like, he did that wrong action specifically because he was Black, but you can, for the opposite, say he did that specifically because he was a cop. So there's like,
Can
it's
you
black
re-
and white, easy to.
can you really say that?
No.
Let's analytically look at that. Am I killing this person because they are police? Or am I killing this person because of what the police have been doing to my people?
So you're
It's
saying.
a different, it's a different,
So you.
it's a different target,
Person,
huh?
that's the-
Really?
Either way,
retaliate
it's
against.
still, like, if I'm doing this because of history of police,
I don't
it's still, you're doing it to the police, right? If you're doing it because it's just a police officer, it's still toward the police. The reasoning may be different behind it, but the consequence is the same.
Okay.
Targeting police.
So, right, you're targeting police.
I'm not-
Let's take this for
I'm not
example.
targeting a certain.
Crips blood.
There's no way.
I'm a Crip. You're blood.
Okay.
Right? You are blood and you're killing all of my people. And so now I'm looking for the bloods. Is that a hate crime? Or am I killing you because of what you've done to
Or
my
is it a
people?
retribution?
Right.
But see, they're just.
Talk to me.
But you're trying to kill me, not just any other blood, right? Or you're
Any
trying to
blood.
just kill bloods.
Any blood. I'm targeting bloods.
Right, so you're still focusing only on bloods.
Right. Is that a hate crime?
I mean, it should be. If you.
It's a
if you-
retaliation.
Wait,
Retaliation.
it's like a race.
Right, you're not coming after me for what I did.
So I don't
understand.
It's still a crime. I get
Wait,
that.
is blood their last name or is it their race?
Well, it doesn't matter if you.
What?
Bro, come on.
Does he say like it's?
I'm-
Gang?
No, listen. Listen, what I'm trying to get you to see is, I'm not using bloods like we should get a hate crime for. What I'm trying to get you to focus on are these people killing because they're police as a hate crime, or they're killing them because of the history of what the police have done to African Americans. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. And when you look at the legislation, some will argue that man, within the span of a couple of months, police are getting killed, and look what y'all do for them. We've been doing this from the 1940s, hangings and shootings and Medgar Evers and come on. And nobody has said or done anything. Go ahead.
What could be done?
What can be done?
I think, coming from my point of view, I feel that it's not so much the law, it's the fact that they're being charged, but they're not being prosecuted.
Well, yeah, prosecuted on what legislation could be passed to change all this?
Just maybe restricting, like making, a higher scrutiny of the cops that are doing these, like looking at them closer, like actually prosecuting them. Like, I don't think it could be like another civil rights law that's passed. I don't think,
I get what you're saying, like,
I
you
think
can't
it'd be
really make a
like-
legislation,
like
but it's
harsher.
just like, it's just saying that you're not, like, these cops are not they're being acquitted, like, they're not being found guilty, like the guy,
Right.
he got shot in his back, he was found acquitted, like, he didn't do anything wrong. Like, to
And
us,
they're being
that's like,
But there's nothing you can, like, on a law, like, passing a law to.
I'm not
to-
arguing
I don't
for the
think maybe
law.
No,
they
right,
want
I'm saying
that.
that, but that's just on the judge, that's just on that court, that's just on that jury that finds them guilty.
But when it happens
Finds
on
them
a
innocent.
high
Yeah, but they
scale,
go
like,
back to the police department, maybe they want the police department to like analyze it better and not like just allow them to
Put
come back
higher
to work.
restrictions on them.
Yeah, I don't think it would have to do with the law, I think maybe they,
I mean,
I want that
I wouldn't
within the
necessarily
police
bring that officer back in, only because he'd be targeted even further than, like, so when cops are being targeted, he would be targeted even further than all of them, because he's the one that committed that wrongdoing. So I wouldn't bring him back in to that station regardless.
but they are.
Whatever, but I mean, it's, there's no law you can pass. That's what we're talking about here, is like the legislation for Blue Lives Matter. It's just adding them to the further class of everyone else.
Yeah.
Okay, but listen, that's
You're
great.
saying it's a slap in the face to the other movement, but what can be done for the other movement?
Okay,
It's
so
on a high
we're not,
scale.
okay, so we're not necessarily saying that something can be done, but what it looks to, what it could be misconstrued as, that you're not even having this type of conversation. You're not even asking what can be done.
Well, what conversation could be had? That's all.
That's why we're talking today. What do you think?
More accountability for police officers. I mean,
Passed.
Yeah, that's, that's the only thing that can be done.
like
Do you think Black Lives Matter, John?
I mean,
I
it's
wish
all
they would
lives
change their
matter.
name.
I mean, just
I
because
wish
of
they
your,
would.
just because of your
If they
police.
change their name, then.
Race or anything.
What did she say? What did he say?
I wish they'd change their Black Lives Matter name, because
Why?
it seemed, because they represent 13% of the population, which is basically a minority in the United States, and you're just trying to, it feels like you're just trying to gripe on like the.
Wait, hold, listen to
It feels like they're just griping, and it's not.
There's not anything to it.
I think just.
Yeah, because like if you try to pass a law to support Black Lives Matter, it feels like everyone's left out.
Okay, so let me ask you this, real quick, let me ask you this. So the Black Lives Matter campaign, a viable campaign or not a viable campaign?
I wish they'd change
It
it.
is viable, but I think since they have
All
such a
lives
bad
matter.
reputation with the name now, they need to go for a name change. Because-
Why should it be a name change?
I think, no.
It has a
I-
negative connotation.
No,
Why?
I'm saying,
They shouldn't change their name, bro.
Huh?
They're the only ones getting killed. They're the only race. getting
no, I'm
killed.
not saying that they need to
Why
change.
shouldn't it be all lives
No, they just
matter?
need to, they just need to wording of their name, because right now,
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. John. So let's just say, for instance, you have a brother that's named James.
Yeah.
James gets wrongfully killed by police. And there's a long history of your family members getting killed by police.
Yeah.
And your family says, we're going to have, what's your last name again, Jake?
Jassic.
Jassic Lives Matter. We're tired of police officers killing the Jacksons.
Yeah.
Should we tell you to change your movement's name?
I'm saying that right now, Black Lives Matter, like the group name, has a lot of bad publicity because of.
Why?
Because of the riots.
It would have the same publicity if it was.
It's not bad for
name.
what?
I'm talking
No, it's
about
just,
because, like,
some people
Like
look
there's
at it
members
that
of the
light,
group
like,
or members who support the group that have committed crimes, and so.
Wait. Hold on a second.
Hey,
Hey. Hold on a second. Let's listen.
There's members of the group,
Listen. Go ahead.
there's members of the group or people who support the group that have committed murders against police officers and other stuff, or mass riots. So they have a bad reputation with the name. If they rebrand, like, come up with a new name that has the same message, like the same idea as Black Lives Matter, then they can start anew and.
Like-
Can I play devil's advocate?
Go ahead.
Okay, what if I go reverse and someone created White Lives Matter?
Well, they have a Blue Lives Matter.
But but they don't have it. They don't have to with that name. There's police officers are African American Asians.
Hold on a second. Say it again.
I said, but like, they're not putting it under that name, White Lives, with Blue Lives.
Listen. Oh, this is so good. You want me to tell you why? This is real good because there is no other race that can understand the world view of an African American. You can't even think about it because your race or your ethnicity, being Asian, you can't understand the historical backdrop to being Black. And so this is embedded into every African American person's mind about how they have been treated historically. Though there are opportunities now, things have gotten better, that never leaves. So then when you write, and so say for instance, I suppress it, years of suppression, but then something like this pops up and I'm seeing Black people getting killed, Black young men getting killed. Do you think that's going to wake that suppression up, or you think I'm gonna just put it down?
Gotta wake it up.
It's gonna wake it up. And so as a Black person, regardless if it's me getting killed, my son getting killed, or another Black person who I don't know, it's gonna just have me to start to wonder, hold on a second, has America truly accepted Blacks? Or is it just the front? And so we start thinking, do they really accept Blacks? Mr. Johnson, I'll never forget, when I first got my job at San Jacinto College, my first full-time professor job at San Jacinto College, I was wearing suits every day. And I was dressed up. One was because I was motivated to let them know that the person who you interview has the same motivation the day you interviewed me to now. That was one. Two, I was creating a brand. I tell my students about that all the time. Create your brand. What is expected when I see Pete? When that name Pete comes about, what is expected from him? And so what I wanted them to understand is when you see Mr. Johnson, what's expected from him? Class personified. That's the brand that I'm giving. Why am I going all the way around the world to get to this, Pete? Because no matter what you see right here, don't think Mr. Johnson is a fool. I'm a Black man living in America. And the moment that I let my guards down, people are going to think a certain way about me. I don't have the luxury of Tyler and Will and other people to be able to dress in jeans and a shirt and still be, listen, when you come in here and you see you have a Black professor, I guarantee you start to question whether or not I'm knowledgeable. I guarantee it. I guarantee it, because I'm Black. And I'm a Black male. See, but whites, Asians, and Hispanics don't have to live with that. I have to prove myself every day. I can't afford to come here dressed in jeans all the time. I have to wear a suit. I have to be, I can't, my primary language is Ebonics. I have to fake intelligence. Can I be real? I have to study vocabulary words so that I can fit in my conversation on a professional level. but this is what we have to do because of my skin. Now you take a white professor who is not as worried about his vocabulary, and he gets away with, oh, that's old Will, man. But he don't have to worry about that. I don't think y'all get it.
They don't get it. They don't.
There's a quote by our old professor used to have. He said, "The system dope." I think his name was Mr. Johnson. Yeah, Mr. Johnson. System dope. The hopelessness that you feed these people to push them down. Oh, I can't do anything to get around it, so I might as well commit crime.
I like that.
I think that was
Bless you.
system dope.
Bless you. By the way,
Hopelessness.
yeah. Well, here's the deal. Here's the deal. So
going back.
No. Here's the deal. Now, I don't want you to get misconstrued. My message is still the same, right? In this format, I have to be the moderator. I have to be the devil's advocate. I'm not saying that I agree with everything that I said. What I'm trying to get you to see is to be well-rounded, right? And if you're gonna, and I told this to my other class, if you're gonna get a PhD, that's the highest. Listen, only 1% of America has 1% of the population in America has a PhD. But if you're going to have a PhD, and you're supposed to be the scholar, doctor in that area, you have to be able to argue a side that you don't agree with.
Absolutely.
And I just showed you that.
I was just showing you that.
Oh yeah. I'm glad you showed me that you're a true disciple. And so, but when you put it all together, you have to be able to understand both sides and be able to argue both sides in a way that people will understand. What I will say is I do believe in system dope. I think that African Americans have bought, and that's why I told El that I like his plug, because he said, I'm not going back all these years. I'm dealing with right here. But what African Americans do is they use that historical slavery, Jim Crow, and all of that. A lot of African Americans, not middle class African Americans, and remember, middle classes are not about this. It's about this. Because you can take a middle class person and put them in the ghetto, but if they have a middle class mind, they will find their way out. But that lower class Black or Hispanic, they're gonna stay in that rut. And it's those individuals, because they don't have a brain change, that the system dope affects. And by the way, the system dope is that Black's worldview is that we have been enslaved, Jim Crow has oppressed us, and now there's a system out to get us. When you feed that to a certain class of Black people, they use that as an excuse, and it creates hopelessness. They see there's no opportunity, so why do right if there's a system to get me? And so now you have hopelessness, and then they continue to go on with crime. What I would say is, for individuals like Latoya, Kiera, Autumn, Tyree, you guys are getting the education. The reason why I call it system dope is because an individual like me, who is ascending, it is irresponsible for me to go back to my people and feed them system dope. It's irresponsible because it didn't affect me. Slavery never affected me, Jim Crow never. Whatever I want to do, I can do. And I'm showing you that I can do it, and you can do it as well. And one of the main things that the hood says for dope dealers is that don't get high of your own supply. And if I'm one who has made it, and why would I go back and tell them about a system out to get them when I don't subscribe to it myself? Make sense? Mm-hmm. All right, good deal. Good deal.
I was giving you a round.
All right, so I hope it was pretty good. Blue lives matter, Black lives matter.
No lives matter.
Brown lives matter too.
Clown lives matter.
Huh?
Clown lives matter.
Brown lives. No lives matter, right?
Yeah.
Life don't matter.
See, I like that, man. You're pretty good, brother.
Yeah, I was wondering, I was like, what if they had white, you're like, and you're like supporting, he's like, but there's a long history, I was like, what? I'm like, this is not what you said last time.
Do you go through any type of discrimination being Asian?
No. Being skinny and small.